Hi, I'm Garry Thomas Morse, and I'm going to say a few brief words about my book, Yams Do Not Exist. Reviewers have described this novel as picaresque, and I had to look that up. But it means generally a series of episodes, episodic adventures about a somewhat roguish figure, and I believe it's a 17th century term. But I think that describes the character in my book, Farinata, quite well. He takes his name from the Divine Comedy of one of the souls who's there who can see the future. And he's a sort of political figure who was a bit of a patriot in terms of defending his city. He felt that was more important than political divisions to defend Florence. And so I like this idea of a character being devoted to the city, in this case, whether it's Regina, Saskatchewan, or Winnipeg, Manitoba, that the character being a poet has something in his heart about those places. And he has a number of romantic adventures in the novel. He's looking for his Dantean ideal, which is a concept from the 13th century, and he sees the light that shines through these ladies, and this happens a number of times, and he has a lot of misadventures because of this idealization and coming to terms with reality. And it's mostly good fun, I think. And so another thing about my work, part of our book club questions with the press have to do with there's an emphasis on literary style in this book and in my work generally. And what it is that sometimes is more emphasized than content or backstory or story arc. So there are stories in here, but there are also the literary style in a way is a type of communication, and so sometimes it'll be like there's a passage that takes place in Faulkner, Manitoba, or it's a story told about that, and there's a kind of William Faulkner style being used. There's a little bit of Kafka. There's a Flin Flon episode, a fantasy episode that has a lot of Flann O'Brien's technique in it. There's a lot there's a lot of footnotes in this for literary allusions and other complexities, and the footnotes start to take over the page and become the narratives of their own, and that's something Flann O'Brien liked to do. And so we use the word pastiche these days in a sort of pejorative sense, in a bad way. We say something, that's just a pastiche of blah, blah, blah. But in the time of Vivaldi, the word pasticcio, from where pastiche comes from, a pasticcio was a sort of assembly of, it would be, say, his music, Vivaldi's music, and then other composers that he liked, that he put together. And today, I guess you might say tribute album, even though that sounds dated, but a sort of homage. And so I think my writing style generally is a homage to a lot of predecessors, and I feel that I'm trying to express something in that. And so I'm applying, like overall there's a style of Samuel Beckett's early work in this novel, and I'm applying it to this story about a poet who wanders around the Canadian prairie and goes between Regina and Winnipeg, and to the wilds of Etobicoke as well, or to Flin Flon. And so I'm applying that style to the narrative always, and that in a way is a form of communication. So I think it's something to think about. The novel is told in these episodic pieces, and so I think really you could start anywhere. You could start in the middle, read one of them, see how you like it, and then you could I think you'll want to go back and read more to find out what's going on with the character, where he started. But I think the book reads that way, so in these pieces, not necessarily just you don't need a linear approach to, because it is quite diverse in its communication. And anyway, I hope you'll consider ordering my book if you don't have it already. Yams Do Not Exist from Turnstone Press, and I have a number of video clips I've made to give you samples of a little bit what it sounds like if I were present reading to you.